We're at Indiana University South Bend with head basketball coach Scott Cooper. Coop, let's take a look at what's going on here over the course of your career for a kid from Ohio. Being in a position now you're in the Hoosier State. That's kind of a misnomer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment wearing this IU logo, being an Ohio State guy growing up all my whole life, but it's been a good experience. I can't complain too much.
Obviously, you're in a position now here to really make an impact because you've gone through the whole recruiting wars. You've had all the kids that are in your system right now are your kids. You don't have to worry about kids left over from the previous administration, if you will. So you're well into that situation. Let's just talk about recruiting for Indiana University South Bend and some of the things when you're sitting down with a parent and a student athlete, and you're in that position across the dinner table. I want you to come and play for us here at the Student Activity Center. Tell us what you talk about.
We tell them what we're looking for in kids, and I think the three things we really are looking for outside of the obvious is we're looking for kids that are self-motivated kids. I'm a pretty laid-back guy. I don't want to be chasing them around, making sure they're going to class, and I think we've got the right type of kid in that. I want to make sure they're doing the work in the summer to get better and things like that. And if they need, a guy who's going to put their foot up their rear end, I'm probably not the guy for them. We tell them we're looking for kids that are good kids that are going to represent us well in the community. And, it's a college town, and when, kids mess up, it's going to be our name in the headline, not just theirs. And so we want to make sure that they're representing us well within the campus community and the, South Bend community. And then finally, we're looking for guys that are great teammates. And, that's been a process for us, and I think we're finally getting to that point. But, that's also kind of a never-ending thing, too. So those three things. Then obviously we're looking for kids that are academically qualified and obviously are good players that fit what we want to do. So we make sure that they understand why we're with them and make sure they understand what our expectations are of them if they were going to come here. And, I think we have a lot to offer a kid who comes here, with an IU degree and obviously experience, the opportunity to play in what is a great, conference with a lot of good competition and, see some different things that they might not see at other parts of the state. So, that whole sell, what our expectations are for them and what they can expect when they come here, I think is really what draws kids.
You're playing in one of the top conferences in the country, the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference with neighboring Holy Cross just right down the road. So you got some close rivalries, but you also have some wonderful road trips, which always allows for, I think, good team bonding, and those are great experiences. But when you're talking about a league that's broken down into two separate divisions, it gives you somewhat of a different look in each division. And let's just talk about the competitiveness of the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference.
Yeah, every year's a grind, and actually we went away, this year will be the first year, but we've actually gone away from the divisions now. So it's the schedule is completely random. Everybody's playing 20 games now, as opposed to the North and the South, like we've done in the past, which makes it that much more competitive. We're playing the two teams that tied for the conference championship last year twice now, in Robert Morris and in Trinity International, and both of them have completely new teams. So you don't know necessarily what to expect, even though those have been the traditional powers. And I think that's one of the things that's great about our league is every year a new team kind of steps up. This year I think Calumet St. Joe's may have one of the best teams in the conference, and they've been, a middle of the pack team for a long time here. So every year's a new year, and you always have an opportunity. And I think we've been on both ends of that. Obviously a couple years ago being in the conference championship game, and then last year suffering some of the injuries we did and not being in the conference tournament. You've got to become ready to play every single night because of that, because of those changes that every team makes every year.
All right, let's talk about the 2017-2018 Titans basketball team. As you look at this just from a broad-based mindset and you're looking at the big picture type of stuff, what do you like about your basketball team thus far?
We got a lot of really competitive kids who are doing what it takes to win. We're still working through some roster changes and, having guys, adding our new guys in and our, more experienced guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years, working them all together. That's been a challenge. But I really like the kids we've got. We're really long. We're really athletic. Defensively, this is probably the best group we've had since I've been here. Matter of fact, in our first 2 games, I don't think we've given up 60 points yet. Offensively, we're maybe not as talented as we've been, but I think we'll be a lot more balanced than we've been in the past. Having said that, I think that's probably long-term for us is going to, lead to a lot more success than a lot more consistent success than we've had in the past. So, I think we've got the right kid at the right time, I guess is probably the best way to say it.
One thing about it, you guys have not been shy of shooting the three-point shot over the course of the last few years. And one thing about it, when you look at that, you're always in the nation's leader in regards to shot attempts as well as shots made. Let's talk about the mindset that you're going to live and die by the three-point shot. Some guys can handle it, some guys can't, but you've made a commitment to do it that way.
Yeah, and it's a little bit deceiving. Part of the reason we shoot more threes is because we've just eliminated mid-range shots from that. So we also shoot a lot more layups, which I don't, isn't necessarily a flashy statistic that gets a lot of thing. But last year we led the conference in layups made and layup attempts. So I mean, it's not like everything is outside the arc, but yeah, certainly we have shot it a lot outside there. I think we were number 2 in the country three-pointers made per game, and number 3 in three-point attempts last year, and like number 13 in three-point field goal percentage. And a lot of that's just a product. We've had a lot of good shooters. We'll still be that team, and we haven't shot it real well the first couple of games, but some of that is some of our best shooters just haven't shot it well. The guys that are like Jeremy Jones, that are some of the best three-point shooters in the country, haven't shot it well. So that'll come. But again, I think a lot of it is, we've got different types of players this year, a little bit more downhill type of guys. We had a guy named Trevor Jane, who's really good getting to the rack, although he hit 3 threes last night. We've got Alex Harmon, who was a freshman for us last year, who I think led the country in 2-point field goal percentage last year. So we've got some of those guys that are a little bit more of our strengths now. And so our attempts may be down a little bit, but I still expect us to be up in that range because it is a big part of what we do.
All right, let's kind of go over this roster for the Titans basketball team, and let's just go up and down. I think we always have to start, not necessarily with seniors, but I think I'm going to start with the coaching staff, because you're only as good as the guys that you have around you, and if you can't delegate an opportunity for the coach, you get left doing everything. And I know that's not always the fun thing. You'll be out walking your dog Titan or something to that effect, but give us an idea on what you like about your coaching staff.
Well, Titan's getting a lot more walks now because I've got a good coaching staff. But I've been very fortunate to have some really good ones here, and we've got 2 new ones this year that are both great guys. Doug Barnbrook, who's kind of a local fixture here in the South Bend area, who's been at South Bend Adams for a long time. Real experienced assistant. He's kind of picked up what we've done right away, and he's been a really big asset, I think, to our program and taking a lot off of my shoulders, especially early on, because you're always worried about training new coaches whenever you have turnover. And then O'Brien Hobbs is a guy who knows our league really well, having played at Holy Cross for 2+ years, and then some of the injuries he's played. He's been around the league for a long time. And he was able to start with us early this summer and things like that, and kind of pick up our program and not have necessarily the learning curve when we start the season that a lot of new guys do. So both those guys have been excellent. Doug's working with our big guys. O'Brien's working with our guards, and they've both been really good in recruiting so far. So yeah, it has definitely made us a better team.
All right, let's talk about the roster. Just give you an open-ended question. What do you have to do to be successful, and who's going to make plays for you?
The biggest thing for us is just going to be consistency on the offensive end. I think every night's going to be a new night. We've got a lot of talent and a lot of guys who can do different things. We're a really versatile group, like I said, really long, really athletic, and we can put a lot of different lineups on the floor. We can put one lineup on the floor that we can go 6'5", 6'6", 6'6", 6'7", at the 2 through 5, and we've got other lineups where we can play real small, real athletic, and not lose a lot of size. So that's really exciting for me because we haven't had that since I've been here. The thing where we're kind of lacking a little bit is we don't have a whole lot of experience at the point. We've got 2 guys. We had Jackson Edwards, who was in our system last year and got a little bit of time towards the end of the year, but hasn't played a whole lot yet. And we've got a kid named Dylan Allen, who's a freshman, who's got a lot of talent and a lot of upside. But again, he's a freshman, and at this point, I think he's got about 30 minutes of playing time his entire college career. So we're gonna have to have some guys help us out, there with that. Rashawn Jackson's got a little bit of experience doing that last year, having to fill in when we had some injuries and things like that. But I think that's probably the biggest question mark for us is what are we going to get out of those guys at the point. From the flip side of that, though, is we've got a ton of experience everywhere else. And, we've got all 4 post guys back. Most of our wing guys are back, plus a couple of the guys we fill in are pretty talented. So we can do a lot of different things, and we can cause a lot of matchup problems with the guys that we do have. So I'm excited about it, but it's going to take a little while before we realize who we are, I think.
You had the taste of getting to the conference final for some of the guys on the roster, or certainly for your sake as the head coach, before losing to a heartbreaking game to Robert Morris and legendary coach over there. Give us an idea on what kind of taste that left in your mouth, knowing, hey, listen, I want to get back here. I also want to go to the NAI National Tournament at a site to be determined later. But give us an idea on, with some of that past success, how much it drives you to continue on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's exciting to know that we can do here. When I took this job 5 years ago, it was a big question mark. They'd had some good teams here and there in the past, but there wasn't really any kind of consistency, and there never was any kind of success within the conference. So just to see that we are capable of that here was exciting for me, because when you take a job like this that doesn't have a whole lot of history, you're not really sure what you're getting into. So for us to be able to do that and be competitive with those teams, and I think we're one of only 4 teams in the conference that's beat every single team in the conference in the last 4 years. So again, to find out that we can do that is exciting. It's something that, again, that we can sell to recruits, and it's helped us build as we go here. So it was great experience for our seniors too, our current seniors too. They were sophomores on that team a couple years ago, because they know now what it takes, and now that they're in those leadership positions, they can kind of relay that to our younger guys, and I think that just helps you build going forward, and hopefully gives us another chance to do that here in the future.
Scott Cooper, our special guest here on RSN TV. Keep in mind you can listen to all and watch all the Titan Homes games right here on www.rsn.com. We'll be back with more next time here on RSN TV.